On October 19th, 1899, an 18-year-old young man climbed a cherry tree in his grandmother's backyard and had what he called a vision that would shape the rest of his life. I imagined how wonderful it would be to make some device which had even the possibility of ascending to Mars, and how it would look on a small scale if sent up from the meadow at my feet. The young man was Robert H. Goddard, and the cherry tree was located in Worcester, Massachusetts. Goddard, inspired by this vision, went on to become the father of liquid-fueled rocketry, and Worcester became home to yet another visionary inventor and his work. But what was it about Worcester that set it apart from the plethora of other industrial towns in 19th century New England? What made it not only a haven for manufacturing, but of science, ideas, and innovation? In order to answer these questions, we need to look at the connections between place and the development of the idea and work of the people who interact with that place. Geographers like David N. Livingstone, Diarmuid Finnegan, Christopher Henke, and Thomas F. Guerin explain how place is vital to the development of scientific thought and practice. Science has a tendency to happen in certain places because of the availability of resources. For example, an island might be geographically important to science because it is biologically isolated. New England in the 19th century was known for its many factories due to water power. Worcester had these factories as well. But what made Worcester unique and vital to the industrial movement was its production of the machinery upon which these factories ran. This didn't happen by coincidence. Entrepreneurs like Stephen Salisbury II and William T. Merrifield built factories and leased the space cheaply to encourage this innovation, as well as the production of materials like steel to create the technology itself. Other industrialists and science-minded people founded schools in the city with engineering and machining-focused curricula. There were businesses where young people could apprentice and lots of like-minded people to share ideas with. Through a combination of all these things, Worcester was molded into a place of industrial technology. Places also have a cultural importance related to science and technology. The Galapagos were vital to Darwin's work and are still associated with that work today. Silicon Valley is known for software technology, and Houston, Texas, the space program. With associations like these, people can feel a sense of pride and belonging in a place and be encouraged to be a part of that legacy, like Goddard did in Worcester. Sociological theory from Randall Collins, who draws from work by Emile Durkheim, claims a person's surroundings, and more particularly their sense of belonging, are highly influential in developing their emotions and personality. When one becomes part of a group that is celebrated in a certain place, as innovators were in Worcester, both at private companies and the newly founded schools like Worcester Polytechnic Institute and Clark University in the late 1800s, they feel good, and it encourages behavior that allows them to continue to be a part of that group. Goddard had a bright mind and grew up in a home where invention was celebrated. He went on to attend schools where he received positive attention for his science work, and he flourished there because of this. At Worcester Polytechnic Institute, a school founded by industrial entrepreneurs who not only valued science, but encouraged its use in invention, engineering, and manufacturing, he found a place to make his visions reality. Worcester provided a place that was not only urban enough to provide access to materials and knowledge, but that also had enough open space to encourage large-scale work. Worcester had the right size, resources, and community of people to allow machining and engineering innovation to flourish. But just as belonging to a place encourages positive growth, being ostracized from that place has the opposite effect. At various points in his life, such as when his innovation became too big for Worcester and he was prohibited from working in the city, Goddard experienced being out of place, and this had the negative effect of making him withdrawn and reticent. Through this tension between being both in place and out of place at various points in his life and career, Goddard's unique perspective and personality were formed in a way that was different had he spent formative time in other places. My research shows that place was vital in Goddard's success as an inventor and scientist, but also contributed to his setbacks as well. By looking more into the geography of science and innovation, we can identify places like Worcester, Massachusetts, and learn how to encourage the growth of others in order to ensure that, in the words of Robert Goddard in his graduation speech from South High School, the dream of yesterday is the hope of today and the reality of tomorrow.